tuned in to the cold, hard truth. Cayman's #1 hard-hitting live podcast show, where we feature some straightforward conversations on political, social, and celebrity news and all things happening in the Cayman Islands and around the world. This show was created to give the people a voice and a means of being involved and informed without any filters. Sometimes it gets crazy, but we always keep it real. We bring you the tea, piping hot, so grab your favorite beverage and join the conversation via WhatsApp at 324-1612. Email tips at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Now, here's your host, Sandy Hill, broadcasting live from the beautiful Cayman Islands.
SFM, Cayman's best variety. Blake and Aaron show brought to you by Subway. Eat fresh. Hope you had a great weekend. Let's find out what's happened.
Big news. I have some important news for you.
Interesting news.
It's Blake and Aaron's Spilling the Tea with Sandy.
Cayman's top news headlines of the day from CMR.
Morning, Sandy.
Good morning.
How are you? How was the weekend?
Morning. I'm good. How are you guys?
We are good. We were just reading this morning about how North Carolina is about to name the first winners of their vaccination lottery.
Ooh. How much money was that?
Well, one lucky person in North Carolina today is getting $1 million.
Wow.
Another is getting a $125,000 grant for education. The state today will announce the winners of its COVID-19 vaccination lottery. Obviously, part of its push to increase vaccination rates. There will be a total of 4 North Carolina residents, 18 and older, that will win $1 million each.
That's amazing.
Wow.
And I'm sure they put everyone into that draw, not just people between May 9th and June 4th.
That's right, Aaron.
Or May 21st and June 9th or whatever. Anyway, I'm still bitter about that.
You know, Aaron, you could have done it. You just needed
No,
to.
you can't. If you go to the official rules, it says you have to show your vaccination card between these dates.
Yeah.
Well,
true.
I don't know. The ministers said that they would accept anyone who had been vaccinated.
Oh, really?
Sandy, who do you know that knows more, ministers or Aaron? No, I'm telling you, if that's true, then they got the word out.
Yeah.
So
you probably weren't watching CMR when he said that, so you totally missed it. You know.
Did he really say that?
Yeah, no, for real.
Okay, well, they should have changed the rules that they kept publishing everywhere online.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. little miscommunication there.
I'm a stickler
Just getting
for
the-
those rules.
Just getting the poison out on a Monday.
Yeah.
What happened over the weekend? Anything?
We had car accidents, so multiple vehicles flipping. We had a shooting Saturday morning. We've got the inside scoop on that. In
What was
West Bay.
That was a home invasion, right?
Yes, it
Really?
appears to be a robbery, but it appears to be very targeted. So we're going to tell people all about that.
Okay. And what about these cars? I mean, is it just people driving way too fast again for no reason?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know. Like, there's one yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw that one, but we were just like, what is going on?
Where was it?
I think it's a combination of like speed and other factors, like probably alcohol.
Yeah.
I went through a checkpoint yesterday
During the day.
in
Again.
South Sound. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, and they were not messing around. They were probably maybe 10 cops.
What time was that? Because that accident yesterday was actually in South Sound, so I'm wondering.
It was right around, I would say, noon, because I had Miles in the back. I was trying to get him to go to sleep for his nap.
Oh, you were driving around for nap time.
And so
I
it
remember
was
that
right
game.
near Cayman Crossing, and they were actually stopping everybody. He pulled me over,
Okay.
and I was like, "Hey, I'm trying to get my son to
Can you?
sleep." I was
I'm
like,
sorry,
"Shh."
but if a cop would ever pull me over when I was trying to get the kids to sleep, because the second you stop that car,
Oh,
that's when
totally.
they wake up. So it's like just point at the kid and say,
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to rock my son to sleep now.
Yeah, I would. I would just hand it to him and walk away.
You're here to serve.
Yep. Sorry.
protect.
Sorry, you just stopped me. No, I get what they're doing.
But
so
they were looking
obviously-
for insurance, registration, looked at my license, and everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
your license.
Yeah,
Usually, if your insurance is up to or your sticker's up to date, then it's like
everything.
good.
Yeah.
And he was nice. He came over, introduced himself. Hi, I'm officer, whatever. We're doing checks, whatever. And I was like,
Could
trying
you
to
hurry
get
this up?
trying to get my son to sleep. He's like, no problem. You'll be on your way soon, which I was.
That's good. Was it like whatever? Hey,
Yeah.
I appreciate all this. I appreciate anything
That
that
is
can
good. They
be
should keep
done
doing
to
that.
fix the road situation because it's scary out there.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well, we're
what,
going to be talking about a few of those for sure.
what was this thing about the dance hall artist visiting John Gray?
Yeah, that's the top of our storyboard as well today.
Was that unannounced? Just an unannounced?
So we've got a little bit of an alternative story that we have been presented that we're going to be discussing this morning as well. So we got a lot to go through, but the school kind of backtracked and said that he was uninvited. I don't know if you guys read the story, but we have a screenshot of where a particular administrator is being asked about it. And she said initially, oh yeah, he was invited. And then the parent went, what? And we weren't told about this. And then the teacher kind of took a different tone and was like, oh, I just double checked and he wasn't really invited. So we know that there's a little bit more to that story and the school probably isn't being 100% honest.
What was the guy's name? Intense?
Yeah.
He seemed to be wildly popular. I mean, he was like the Beatles. He'd roll down his window. The kids were going crazy, trying to touch him and get his autograph or whatever.
Yeah, he's in that dance hall space. So I guess.
Actually, I don't know Intense. Do you know Intense?
No, is this the guy with the tattoo on his forehead?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's a person you might regret eventually.
Trying to see if we have any
He created a very intense situation. Let's put it that way.
living up to his name.
I know. Total pun intended.
The message seemed okay and inspiring from some of the video, right? When he's talking
I don't think it was about the message. It was about his overall reputation and the fact that permission was not sought from the parents. Like they knew nothing about it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
I mean, I don't know. I don't have a kid in school yet. You need to do all parents?
I know anything that like is going on. If there's a guest, it's like, oh hey, we have a guest coming today.
Yeah, because you might not want your kids to be exposed to certain things.
Yeah, I mean, even if it comes down to like cupcakes being brought for someone's birthday, I know about
with peanuts on it.
Well, no, we can't have peanuts at our school. Trust me, I had to come to grips with that because we don't have any allergies. And so understanding other kids' allergies and other people's allergies, it's like, oh yeah, no, I 100% understand that. But for me, like I love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So it was like a blow to my childhood. But again, I'd rather people be alive over a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah. And then we've got a couple of financial things. There's a couple lawsuits that we're going to go over. Some big news in the cryptocurrency arena that involves Cayman. More than one story there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Hey, I want to give a message out to your audience about this weekend Rib Fest. I don't know if you heard about Rib Fest. Just a little promotion.
Coming up this weekend?
Yeah, it's on Sunday at Camana Bay, and we're one of the sponsors of the event, and it's from 11:30 to 7, and we're partnering with Carnivore, so it'll be in that parking lot near Carnivore, which is
over by I think it's in the Audi.
Yeah, on that side.
Okay.
Where the new building is going up.
Yes. Okay.
Right in that parking lot on Sunday. Rib Fest. So
it'll be awesome.
There's going to be a bunch of people that are contestants that are trying to have the best ribs on island. So you go there.
My husband's a contestant, and
Aaron's husband is doing it.
So he made some more ribs yesterday, and I go, I'm not going to lie, these are delicious.
Yeah.
But after July 4th, I'm telling you, I need about 2-month break from eating ribs.
No more ribs.
Yeah, just stop for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So that sounds like fun.
And a 3-day holiday weekend, which is great.
Yeah, everybody excited. The Filipino community is also having an upcoming event that they're going to be putting on, because remember, July 4th is kind of their Independence Day as well. It's their second Independence Day. So it's when the U.S. finally recognized them years after they actually broke from Spain. So they'll be doing a little celebration on Sunday evening as well. So
we bought some fireworks over the weekend. I'm going to blow those off in the backyard.
All right, just keep your hands safe. This is the one thing.
Neighbors will love us.
Guys,
nice.
Got to celebrate America.
I do hate that whole thing. Poor dogs that are around.
I know. I've never personally really done fireworks. I mean, when I lived in the States, of course, July 4th was actually one of my favorite holidays. I felt like it was kicking off summer.
Yeah.
And so, I would go and watch professional fireworks, but I've never been inclined to actually do my own for some reason.
I think fireworks are fun, but I like them, but I definitely don't. If I'm going to do something, it's give me a sparkler and one of those snakes that it looks like a snake and it grows.
Those are cool.
I don't want to blow my arm off, so I'm not messing around. We did the farm field across the canal on fire once with a fireworks, so I'm good.
It's the excitement. Exciting. You don't know if you're going to blow your arm off or not.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good with not wanting to blow my arm off, so I'm just going to avoid it at all costs.
I like a little bit.
Yeah. Plus, like Aaron said, once you've had dogs and you know how much they're disturbed by it, you're less inclined to think that it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. We have a dog. He doesn't mind. Harley actually likes fireworks.
Oh, yeah.
All right. CMR starts right now with Sandy Hill. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning. Have a great day, Sandy.
Hey, have a good one. All right, folks. Good morning. Good morning. How are you guys? Let me just make sure that I have sent out my notification. Beautiful. So everybody knows that we're online. Let's go ahead and get the party started. Happy Monday. Kicking off the week in good fashion here. We got a lot to talk about today. I'm hoping we can get through it all. But, if we don't, we save some for the next day. So not a big deal. Let's see who's here with me. We have the Japanese writing. I actually know who it is, but I think they have their name like that for a reason, because they don't necessarily want people to know. So thank you so much. Good morning to you. Anne-Marie, thank you so much for joining us. Leroy is here. Somebody's sending me a message. I don't know how you put up so much rubbish, Sandy. Anti-vax, pro-vaccine. Well done is all I can say. Enjoy the show today. How you put up with so much rubbish. Oh, Lord, trust me. It's crazy. Marshall, thank you. Leroy, Audrey is here. Maria is here. Big shout out to Hero Blair. I don't know if he's logged in yet, but he sent us a picture of his mug. He's received his mug in Florida. So that's good news, because that means that the mugs have been shipped. I'm still waiting to get the tracking number. I'm hoping, tomorrow is, tomorrow is actually your anniversary. So I don't see them getting here by then, but you never know. FedEx might pull through today. But whenever they come, we will definitely be distributing them. We have a couple anniversary prizes that we're going to be giving out. So I've got my stack of anniversary giveaways. I'm super excited about that, because we've got some really nice prizes. I think you guys are going to love what we have. Now, some businesses have said that they wanted to sponsor a prize. So definitely feel free to reach out. You can do gift certificates, a small gift from your company. Anything like that is perfect. Good morning, Alice. Hi, David. Thank you. Joining us from London. Good morning, Miss Joy from Texas. Olivia is here. And Irvelyn is here. Louis, thank you so much. Brandon, how you doing? Marshall says, just to set the record straight, I'm not the $1 million winner in North Carolina. Have they selected the winner yet? Or are they just announcing it and the winner already knows who they are? That would be nice. Marshall, we could all do with $1 million. Believe me, you. No matter where you're at in life, trust me. $1 million would be awesome. Good morning, Miss Beulah. Miss Sue is here. Valda is here. Yes, we're going to talk about that. Let's kick off the discussion with that this morning. Morna, good morning. Felicia. We have Leroy. He looked intense with all that bleaching. Rosie is here. Diamond Princess, good morning. Vernita, buenos dias. Miranda says intense. That mask on his forehead must be the mark of the devil. That mark in his forehead. He is no role model for children. Get this demon out of here. Well, let's talk about it. Richie, Flashpoint. Flashpoint, a lot of people are asking that question as well. Like, how does he even get in? And there's some questions that we need to get answered in relation to that procedurally. I'm hoping to speak to a few parties today to try to get a little bit of clarification on that point. So Jess, thank you so much. Louis is here. Good morning, Emma. You have a blessed day. Elizabeth, Louis says, oh, that means that 3 for the Detroit is on the way. Yes, Miss Joy, good morning, my dear. Karen, anybody getting married today, Miss Joy? Cecil, Daisy's here. Good morning, Andre. What's up? Big shout out to Andre. So let's talk about intense. This is a really intense situation, complete pun intended. So this artist, I got to tell you, I've never really heard of him before. Someone sent me photos. So I had seen him in relation to something else. And I thought to myself, wow, he certainly looks interesting. But I didn't really know what to make of him. Okay, so this is him. Yes, he does have some very unique tattoos, to put it lightly. I personally am not someone who finds tattoos attractive in any way, shape, or form. And to me, the more tattoos you have, the less attractive you become. Like 1 or 2, I'll be like, okay, maybe that's cute, whatever. But when you start really tattooing your entire body, and a lot of times, like, they're not the best designs in the world, I'm just kind of like, what on earth is that? And I don't really care what your tattoo is about. Now, I know that there's some people who, for them, tattoos are like a big deal. They have symbolism and it's their life story, and they want to, put their life story all over their body. Okay, well, it's your body. That's one time when it definitely is your body. So you can certainly choose to do whatever you want in terms of that. But it doesn't mean that people are not going to judge you, and people are not going to be like, what is that? And so you have to know that that just simply comes with the territory. Now, it is what it is. I don't find tattoos to be attractive, just like I don't find men or women who bleach their skin to be attractive either. And that's just a personal thing. I mean, maybe there are people who actually think skin bleaching and having that, because I've said this before, you have a very distinct appearance once you start bleaching. So maybe there are people who think that that actually looks good. I don't know. Personally, it just isn't, it isn't for me. So I, think the health risk associated with skin bleaching are very, very dangerous. And, you have all the telltale signs. Did you guys see that one guy who bleached like half of his face? Let me see if I can find that one for you. It's kind of weird. But this guy decided to like bleach half of his face. I don't even know why, because he looks ultra stupid. So his name is Artiste Skip, bleached half of his face, and dyed half of his hair blonde. Now he looks like a proper clown. Let's just be honest about it. And I don't know what sort of statement he was trying to make. Let me show you guys this, because this is just super, super, super weird. I'm not sure what this is all about, but anyway. He's taken bleaching to the new extreme. The funny thing about this is most people don't want their, I guess everybody knows that they're bleaching, but most people don't want people to know that they're bleaching, which is weird because everybody can look at you and tell. Is it like an unspoken sort of thing? But look at this dude. His name is SKP. I guess he pronounces it Skip. I don't know who he is. Never heard of him. But apparently he's a hardcore dance hall DJ. And he believes, hear this joke, that bleaching half of his face will help his career in Jamaica's popular movie or dance hall scene. So, oddly enough, sorry. So oddly enough, I guess this is a thing. And he says that apparently if you bleach your skin, it makes you popular in certain circles. And I suppose a lot of this is really about shock value to some extent. And, he gets an article just because he's done this now. And so that alone gives him some degree of exposure. But yeah, look at this dude. Like legit, he has bleached half of his skin, half of his face. I don't know about the rest of him in this instance. But this is just so incredibly crazy. Anyway, he says that this is going to help him. This is going to help his career. And so, forget about having real talent. Bleaching your skin and bleaching part of your hair blonde gets you the attention that you need to make it in this industry. Wow, what a way to compete. He actually said, and this is a quote from a magazine called Urban Islands, "The idea came to me like a gift, and me just start use cream and light out one side of my face, and see ya, it'll work." Oh, say it'll work. Skip is hailed from Bog Walk, St. Catherine, and he has a few singles out on YouTube, including one called Cool Like Sunday, Splashway, and Ghetto Life. Dancehall DJ vows to maintain his half-bleach image if he gets his big break. So he's not going to bleach the whole thing. He's going to stay half black and half bleached. Okay. He's also noted that he might even alter his image even more, as he currently has more ideas. Lord, don't make the ideas take you away, Skip. He's also addressed rumors that he's a madman, saying that he's very much sane and will prove all of his haters wrong. Okay. So it says here that dancehall artists, obviously really known for bleaching their skin and having fake tattoos and tattooing their eyeballs, as in the case of Vibes Cartel and Alkaline. Other artists have taken the traditional route and let their music speak for itself, like Popcorn, who is now one of the biggest dancehall artists on the planet. So everyone is aspiring to be somebody, apparently, in the world of dancehall music. And so bleaching is the way to go, is what they think. And this is Intense. Intense didn't do the half bleach. He did the whole bleach project. And the whole dancehall scene, I think, is very, very interesting. So I'm going to update you guys on what allegedly transpired and what I believe to have transpired now that I have some additional information. So as they say, not everything that looks a certain way goes so. And we have reason to believe that school administrators are less than honest about what has actually transpired. Imagine that. So on Thursday, just to give you guys the backstory on this one, I started to receive messages about the fact that this intense guy had gone to the school on Thursday afternoon. Like literally, I think within minutes of him being there, I started to get messages. And people were like, why is he being permitted at the school? And I thought, okay, like I said, I've seen him in some pictures. So I kind of knew that he was on island. And I don't follow him, so I don't know a whole lot about him. And I wasn't really inclined to be like, ooh, let me see who this guy is. Let me do some research here. It was like, okay, another dancehall artist. That isn't my cup of tea. Like, I don't necessarily care about that. But I kept getting these messages from parents, from others that this dude went to campus. And their concern was, as a parent, I should know. And I should actually be not only just informed, but I should be in a position to give consent that this guy actually showed up to, my kid's school. So I'm like, yeah, I mean, I do see the point as a parent. Like Aaron was just saying on 106, it's pretty common for parents to ask permission, whether your kids are going to be going on a field trip or they have a guest speaker to the school, because maybe you don't want your children exposed to certain things, right? So remember when there was that whole allegation of the teacher performing an exorcism? By the way, where is that investigation? Is she back at school? What's going on with that? Because now we can't hear nothing about that. So I think that parents have a right to say, I want my children to be exposed to this, or I do not want my children to be exposed to this. And that didn't happen in this case. So this seems to have been a little bit impromptu. Now I'm going to talk about the details of that here in a second, because apparently it's not as impromptu as people think. Good morning, Bishop Hero Blair. Good morning, Paula. So good to see you. Jasara and Tommy are both here. Carson Miranda says, look at his shirt logo. Killed you 3 times. So Flashpoint, that's the $1 million question. So when I started getting all these things on Thursday, I thought to myself, let me hold off a little bit, because I'm not sure that this is a big deal. Like this is 1 or 2 parents having an issue, but a parent's really upset about this. So I wanted to gauge what was going on. Well, lo and behold, the discussion continued. So by Friday, people are like, Sandy, you need to be talking about this. I was like, Lord have mercy. Now, y'all know I am not shy when it comes to talking about any topics, but I think that some people in the dance hall community seems to think that I want to pick on them. And I can tell you what, I don't follow the dance hall community. I see their boat cruises and I see what they're up to. And like I said, someone said to me last week, don't use the term ghetto, use something else that is a bit more universal, like trailer trash or something. And I'm like, well, that's not any more universal. I mean, in the Caribbean, we don't even have trailer communities. A lot of Caribbean people, that's not like a Caribbean term, but I think if I say ghetto fabulous, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? But whatever, to me, it's just semantics. I think you guys know exactly what I mean. And so there's some people who may get insulted by the fact that we're even having this discussion, that we're talking about it, that people are looking at him and saying, oh, he's not attractive. He's this, he's that. And part of the conversation does begin to get into this whole idea of, number one, this culture doesn't represent traditionally what has been Caymanianism, or, something that we celebrate. There is that part of it for sure. The other thing, of course, is that I get, and I totally want to acknowledge this, that there is a connection to people being a little bit prejudiced against the dance hall community. That's true, right? So it would be amiss of me to not acknowledge that there are people who automatically see an artist like him. And again, I just said to you, I don't even like people who are all tattooed up. Now, I don't care whether you're in the dance hall community or you're in rock and roll or whatever. To me, that's a turnoff. So do I automatically judge people who are tattooed up when I see them? Yes. I'm going to cop to it. I'm going to own it 1,000%. Because if I'm to accept, and I've sat here before and told you, that it is common human nature that people judge you about 7 things when they look at you within the first about 30 seconds to 45 seconds. They judge certain things about you just based on the way that you look. So I would be lying to you if I likewise did not acknowledge that I myself judge people based on how they look. And when I look at this dude, yes. When I see somebody like this one, when I see, there he is, you get a little bit of a better view. Somebody with the hairstyle like that, the tattoos, just his general appearance of how he seems to carry himself. Here, I mean, he doesn't look too bad except for the baggy pants falling off, right? A lot of his photos, he's smoking, he's shooting a bird. Here he's using a wad of money like it's a cell phone, I guess, is the look. Am I unfairly judging this young man? Sure. Because I don't actually know anything about him. Maybe he is super intelligent and he has a lot to contribute to the society and all this kind of stuff. I don't know, right? All I know, he's in the dance hall scene. And if I were a parent, I would say that I would not have given permission for my child to have had him come to the school as a quote unquote role model. That's just the truth. That's the reality of what we're dealing with. Now, I get that there is a certain amount of judgment that goes into me saying that. I'm owning it. A lot of parents are not going to publicly own it, that yes, they don't like the dance hall, aura, community, whatever. They're just not into it and they don't want their children exposed to it. Now, interestingly enough, like Blake said this morning, these kids were excited to see him. They were like, OMG, like this is a big superstar. That says a lot about what your children are being exposed to. Parents, y'all need to wake up. For them to even know who he is as 12, 13-year-olds, it says a lot about them. And by extension, it says a lot about you as parents. Y'all need to recognize what I'm saying. They whipped out cameras. Let's watch some of the videos here in a second. So Flashpoint, we're going to get to that in a bit. Irvlin says some of the tattoos are cult symbols, Illuminati and satanic symbols. Mina like tattoos. You're welcome, Bishop Hero Blair got his CMR mug. Oh, wonderful. He's drinking his tea from it this morning. Rosie says that is nothing to look up to. Oh, Miranda. We have the inside scoop about the Cayman wife situation. Fear not. We're going to be bringing that to you here in a second as well. Because believe it or not, his brother, what? Oh my God. Someone just sent me something about him. Oh, this just gets juicier by the minute. Lord Jehovah. Ew. Oh my God. Let me assure you, for more than one reason, most parents would agree that he is not anyone for your children to look up to. In fact, most parents would want to hide their children and lock them up. Mm-mm-mm. So, how did this all happen? All right, let's break it down. And yes, Miranda, apparently his brother has come to Cayman in the space of 3 weeks, has been able to find him a Caymanian fiance. You know something wrong with our people, though. We have to. I mean, forgive me for saying this, but certain Caymanians, because we can't put us all in the same boat. Again, that would be highly prejudicial. But certain Caymanians are just desperate and stupid. You meet a guy and automatically you are like, oh, 2 weeks. Let's get engaged. I've known you for all of 2 weeks. She's planning the wedding. She's planning to go to Jamaica. We're going to talk about that here in a second. Because anyway, so yes, a lot of people are looking at his appearance, like Miss Sue. They don't find him attractive. Elizabeth, terms like satanic people and movement. It is a culture, the dance hall community, that is not Caymanian. It is now starting to integrate heavily into the Caymanian community because of the Jamaican influence. So we are so interconnected to Jamaica that there will be certain things that will spill over. So just like the Akin codfish has spilled over, you better believe that certain things such as the dance hall lifestyle has definitely been integrated and starting to spill over. And we have a lot of, remember the story the other day with the young lady, the craziness with the 3 people, the husband, the wife, and the alleged side chick who says that she's actually not a side chick, that he had left the wife, and one bag of mix up. Some of those parties are in the dance hall community as well. And it's a big thing, folks. Every weekend, you got a dance hall party. You have, them dressing to the nines. They may not have a job. They may be an NAU assistant and whatever, but they can buy the hair. They can buy the bleaching cake soap and whatever else they call it, and dress to the nines. It might not be the real Fendi and that sort of thing, but they're going to still try to dress to the nines and present a certain image. Because in that world, the fake image is like everything, right? So they might not be real diamonds, but the cubic zirconias are going to be all bling bling. They want to dress a certain way. They want to act a certain way. Like, that's the thing. They go out on these boats. Everybody's smoking pot. There are police officers there who are part of the promotion and dance hall community, and they're not doing anything about it. So it is incredibly interesting. Let me put it that way. And, it's one of the major subcultures here in the Cayman Islands that has emerged. And your children are immersing themselves into this subculture, which you need to get a grapple on. We're going to talk about the school and how they failed in this instance. But more importantly, you need to get a grapple on what your children are listening to, what they're engaging in, and what they're doing. And how many of them may even be sneaking out to these type of events. So, so people are into it. Young children should probably be not exposed to this type of extremism in terms of the lifestyle and the music, because as a whole, the dance hall community does not present anything positive to your children. And this is why parents are upset. And there's a lot of people who are like, well, listen, this guy, went in and he had some positive message for our children. what is the problem? Well, the problem isn't what he said in the moment. And I think that, a lot of you have to understand what parents are trying to say. It's not about him in that moment saying, stay in school and get an education, because listen, your kids definitely need to take that advice. I saw some of them commenting on Instagram in particular, thinking that I'm the one who's hating on Intense. I'm like, kids, calm down. Because I don't even know who Intense is. And quite frankly, I don't care about Intense. But if your parents have brought an issue to CMR, it is our responsibility as, community journalism, community advocate journalists to report on these things. This is what's happening on the ground. This is what's happening in the community. So this has nothing to do with me and my personal opinion. This is what parents have said. And so the problem with this is parents are not saying we have a problem with what he said to our children. What parents are saying is that, listen, his overall message of what he stands for and what he does is not something that we esteem to have our children exposed to. Now, look at this. Someone just sent me this, so this is completely new to me. I had not seen this headline before, so let me be very, very honest. Intense accused of impregnating schoolgirl after 5-minute sex. Wow. If you don't find this allegation disturbing, then I don't know what to say. So the story goes that he's the latest dance hall artist to face a social media scandal that allegedly involves a pregnant schoolgirl. Now, we know that unfortunately, a lot of this community as well seems to have no issue having sex with underage children. The story goes that he was doing an Instagram live session. This is May of last year. So he was doing this Instagram live session on May the 26th. And apparently he's known for some Go Hard DJ. I don't know if that's a song or what the hell that's supposed to be. Where he was chatting with his friends, and someone left a comment that says she was 3 months pregnant for the Jamaican entertainer. The user also claimed that Intense has blocked phone calls from the individual and urged him to respond to her. So the message said, "I'm pregnant, 3 months. You blocked me from calling you. Please respond." Almost 1,500 people were tuned into the live stream. So of course, they would have all seen this. This publication here, Hype Life, reached out. Actually, she took to her Instagram stories, and the said account further claimed that she had met the Kingston-based recording artist at his performance at her school in Portmore before they were linked up, and had sex inside his car for 5 minutes. The unknown person then indicated that 2 to 3 weeks later, she missed her period and discovered that she was pregnant. And she's actually sent screenshots. There were some screenshots of the account. So she actually went as far as naming herself, saying that she's from Portmore. She goes to Ascot High School. She says that me and Intense met up. I mean, listen, folks, this is all so incredibly crazy. And this is precisely why I understand parents' concerns about exposing their children to certain people. Because if this allegation, whether the allegation is true or not, the fact that it exists, right, is worrisome. The fact that it exists against someone who is then permitted to come into a government school or any school in the Cayman Islands is further worrisome. Wow. All right, so let's go through her claims. And again, these are allegations, speculation, not confirmation. I guess they wouldn't be able to confirm any of this until the baby's born. And then she's able to do a DNA test if she can get a hold of him. Oh, apparently now there's another message here. Okay, let's go through the messages. Let's go through the messages. And of course, he has said that this allegation is a fabrication. But this is what she says. My name is so-and-so from Portmore. I go to Ascot High School. Me and Intense met up at my school when he performed. So I guess the schools in Jamaica must have allowed him in. Me get him WhatsApp from a girl at my school. I message him nonstop and he said, yes, he will come link me. Him drove to me. They blurted that out. One time inside his car. And about 2 to 3 weeks later, my period did not come. And that's when I discover my pregnancy. Okay. It goes on to say, there's a few other messages here. So here's this one. When God says yes, nobody will or can say no. Thankful more my mother and sister, because John no star. I'm a 16-year-old girl. Please don't send me no death threat. The messages continue. When I discovered my pregnancy, I was scared and taken aback because I was anxious about my mother finding out. However, my mother supported me and my sister, and I reached out to Intense over 20 times, and he blocked me on WhatsApp and Instagram, which is why I made this page. Me never did want any attention, but he would not respond. The posts continue. This morning, my mother called Intense from her mobile device, and they spoke for about 10 to 15 minutes. He said he used protection, and there's no way I can breed for him, which is a lie. So if that is true, that means that he's admitting to having sex with a schoolgirl. Whether she got pregnant or not, I mean, that's horrible. But the fact that according to this, he actually admits to it, but says that he used protection. Wow. Somehow that makes it all better. I have never claimed that he was my boyfriend. Him know me or nothing of the sort. We just really buck up one time and F him in the car for about 5 minutes. Nothing entertaining or extravagant about that. Wow. What a hot mess. These poor children. The lifestyle. Oh my gosh. So if you're a parent and you had concerns last week, you might be right to have a concern. The only reason I did comment is that his IG is because I want to catch his attention, because him blocked me upon everything. I didn't know people is recording. Well, everything's recorded in this day and age, so that hardly matters. And then it goes on to say, this afternoon, my father came down and him and my mother have decided I'll be getting an abortion next week. Wow. Really sad. He claims that his main focus is on his music career. 25-year-old entertainer as of last year, whose real name is Tashawn George Gibbiden, is in a committed relationship, he claims, with Dancing Rebel, a member of Team Spice's dance team. He's originally from Tavern in Kingston 6, and he attended Mona High School, and blah, blah, blah. So as parents, folks, I could totally understand why you would not want your children to be exposed to anyone who has had these types of allegations or not, or just this entire lifestyle. It's not really the best lifestyle in the world. So a lot of people are sending me additional information about the promoter. He's had some legal issues as well. And it's like I said, it's just a lifestyle. And I totally get why a lot of parents wouldn't be keen on him showing up being a guest speaker at a school. So how did it happen? Rosie says, Corella want to be frightful. Perla says, WTH am I looking at on a Monday morning? Mr. Walton, good morning to you. Marshall says, of course it would get you some attention because people are looking at you for years, the wrong reasons, like an idiot, in my opinion. Lazara wants to know if he's advertising the bleaching cream or his talent. I'm confused. Well, they all are into the bleaching thing. It's just part of the lifestyle. Like, I've seen very few people in the dance hall industry, if they're not a browner complexion, which apparently that's their desires, to be as white as possible, they go to great lengths to bleach out their skin. So we reached out to someone at the school. And I said, what on earth is going on? Because the first thing is, we received this message. Let me show you guys the message that we had received. Between a school administrator and teacher. And it says, that, I was not aware he was coming in, or if I'm honest, do I know who he is? I will, however, pass on your concerns to Mrs. Forbes. The parent says, I know of him, and as I try to keep up with what the kids listen to or talk about, and what he sings about is very distasteful. So apparently his lyrics might be a concern as well. And I've heard people say that at some of his concerts, he's even gone as far as making disparaging remarks about the Cayman Islands and about Caymanians, which isn't entirely a surprise. And then this person says, thank you for passing it on to me. Have a great evening. Then they come back and said, I have had a conversation with Mrs. Forbes, who's investigating the situation. She believes that he wasn't invited in, so my apologies for misleading you. I just assumed he was. Once I get confirmation of the event, I will let you know. Now, here's the issue with this. People are saying, hold on a second here. How can people, school administrators, and this person apparently who's responding to these messages, I understand, is a member of the management team. So they would have to know, unless they were living in a hole, whether this individual was invited or not. And it seems like the initial assumption on their part is that he was invited and permission was given. Then you see the backtracking happening. Well, I've just spoken to Mrs. Forbes. I don't know who Mrs. Forbes is, who's investigating the situation today. Hold on a second now. You mean to tell me that someone can just drive up at a government school, John Gray High School, drive into the school compound, security lets them in because they've got a security guard at the front gate, gain access to your children, go into an auditorium area and speak to children, and no one knows how they gained access? Now, the ministry and the department has some serious questions to ask, as well as the school. Because it is my understanding that the correct procedure is that guests who are coming on campus would have to go through the ministry and get approval from the ministry before they would even be permitted to come on campus. So how this happened, I have no clue. So one source said, Sandy, a person who is involved in like booking artists and, getting them out in the community, whatever, approached us about this individual coming to speak to the Boys to Men students originally. We had no idea who he was. Not surprised, because like I said, I don't know him either. When I first saw him, I'm like, okay, he's just another dance hall kid that bleaches, right? So they looked him up, and once they looked him up, they discovered who he was. And of course, then they were like, yeah, this is probably not the ideal person that we want talking to your children. That's what was said to me. And so they backtracked. There were some ongoing negotiations, and then they kind of backtracked and said to the individual, you know what, we really just want our kids to focus on exam prep at this particular time. And so then that was a no. And that allegedly he just showed up to the school unannounced, uninvited. He was there, blew through the school, and had a moment with your children. That's one version of the story. Let me show you the videos, in case you missed it, of what actually went down. Some very brief videos. Okay, so you have to help me translate what he said at the end, because I actually have no clue. But then he was permitted to, that was when he was coming to schools. As you can see, a complete mob scene. They had lost control of the situation. The one little security guard at that school couldn't control all those children. Now here's the part 2 of the videos that have gone viral.
Good afternoon, JGHS High School, right? In a long time, some of the youth them stay in a school, focus, work hard, not only hard but smart. Big up on yourself, right?
All right, folks. So your children, I guess back in the day, maybe this was something like Elvis or whatever, where everybody goes crazy. And, maybe that, I don't even know what to say. Your children were obviously very excited about seeing this particular artist. So everyone, after the story went up, was like, how does he come into a government school? They're claiming he wasn't invited. I have people messaging me now saying that they think maybe it was a security guard that's in the video, because that was the same security that was working the show on Friday. So there's a connection. Someone else saying, I'm hearing that he was not invited. Apparently he's friends with the security guard whom allowed him access to the school compound, check the cameras, easy to do. So 2 different people have just sent these messages about maybe it's a security guard. So I don't know. But what I do know is the producer for this event, bringing this young man here, has called and reached out to CMR. He's supposed to send us some videos. We still haven't received the videos. But here is what he said on Friday. We had a conversation with him. I had a conversation with him. And he said that this idea that they were uninvited to the school compound is completely false. He said they would never show up to a school compound uninvited. Apparently, Roper, and I think he means Roper, the son, not the father, was the person who, and again, the school didn't say, my school contact didn't say that this is who reached out to them, but now it makes sense. So apparently he must have, I don't know if he has a company or what exactly Roper does, but he was one who reached out and said, oh, I can bring this artist to the school to talk to these kids, blah, blah, blah. The producer said that evidently Intense had reservations about this. because number one, he's never done anything like this before in the Cayman Islands, I guess. Obviously, he's done it overseas if this girl's claiming that she met him at a school that he went to speak to or whatever. But he was not keen on doing it. He had some reservations, and they were very insistent. Roper's very insistent that he does it, and this would be good for his image, and this, that, and the next thing, and whatever. So arrangements were being undertaken between Roper and members of the school, administrators. His producer, or is it producer? Is that what he is? Whatever they call themselves. Not producers, promoters. Claims again that they were insistent. Now, the they appears to be Roper and not the school administrators, which that started to make a little bit more sense. Was insistent that he show up and he do this appearance, and kept calling, and said, "Go to the school now. They're expecting you." His team, along with the promoter, claims that they have video that proves a different video angle that not only were they invited into the school, but the video shows the school administrators setting up the mic and the whole thing in order to invite him in. Now, my understanding, I'm not 1,000% familiar with John Gray layout in the school, but my understanding is how you see all of those kids sitting there in that auditorium, that would have been arranged to say, "Come on, kids, come to the auditorium. There's someone here to speak for you. Yes, set up the mic, et cetera, et cetera." So how all of that preparation went into him even saying the few words that he did say without the school's knowledge or permission, I find it very difficult and hard to believe. And this is where now you have one story on this side, and you have a competing story that doesn't make any sense. And I'm afraid to say that we need some clarification on which of these stories is true. Because if this guy said that he had video image that this went down, then, I wanted to see that video image. Because to me, this would eliminate any questions in terms of who actually permitted them into the school. And if it was school administrators who then backtracked after the backlash, parents, you need to have a conversation with the Ministry of Education and the Department of Education, because once again, they are allowing shenanigans to go on in your government schools that shouldn't be, that most of you just simply have not signed up for. I really wanted to see those videos. Trust me. I said, send me the video, because then this kills the argument completely. There's no argument when you see a video of school administrators setting up a microphone. If you have an unexpected or uninvited guest on your campus, you wouldn't be setting up a microphone for them to speak to your children, and you wouldn't be inviting children into this auditorium room or whatever it is to even have a conversation. Now, there's a little bit of confusion, or friends over Dance Hall Mag, they kind of lifted the story from us. Wouldn't even give us a little bit of credit. I mean, that would have been nice, Danica, but whatever. So they lifted her story and they said, oh, he was there speaking to the Boys to Men kids. No. That's not what this was. This was a broader audience of students at John Gray. And I've had other teachers who are familiar with the school runnings and familiar with education. They're not necessarily at the school at this particular time, reach out and said, this school has some serious questions, because they know that type of setup with the children all there would not have happened unless they told the children to come to that assembly area for a reason. So there's a lot of questions, a lot of unanswered factors to this. But the bottom line is parents feel aggrieved that this decision was made without the benefit of their consent. Tracy says, no words. Emma says, and full stupid. Aliana says, intense looks more incompetent, but we live in a slack-minded society where the moron is considered what is cool and hype. Well, let's be honest, folks. This is what your kids are esteeming to be. That's the real truth. That's a real cold, hard truth that y'all need to be addressing. That your children even know who this is and they're esteeming to be him. Like I said to his promoter, as an adult, I don't have to be in that lifestyle. I can choose to like it, not like it. That's my choice as an adult, right? The problem with children who are very impressionable, right? They're still in their teens. They're easy to be influenced by peer pressure, by social media, by all of these things. And you as parents have a responsibility to try to counter all of the information that your children are being bombarded with a lot of positivity, and to try to keep them engaged at a different level so that they don't succumb to being involved in these sorts of activities. And yes, everybody knows that with the whole dance hall thing, the top 3 things are bleaching of the skin, sex with any and everybody, including underage girls. That's a thing. And, smoking of the weed and kind of living this very whatever lifestyle. So I don't blame parents for being concerned. And again, I do think that there are some questions here that need to be answered. Morna talks about the dangers of bleaching. And again, if your kids come out and see this as something to esteem to, my God, what are you gonna do? Y'all need to get a grapple on your children, is what I would recommend. All right. Miss Sue, thank you, Perla. Check out Prodigy for the pendant. That's my boy David over there. Good morning. Sue says, totally agree, Morning. Most white skin want to be brown, nice tan. I know I do. Well, apparently we're never satisfied with what we have. If you're white, you want to be tanned. If you're black, you want to be brown and white. If you have no booty, you want a big booty. If you have a big booty, you don't want any. If you're top heavy, you want a reduction. If you're flat chested, you want implants. So people just don't know what they want. Miss Ramelia's here. Paula, thank you so much. Darlene says, with no disrespect, if the security at John Gray High School entrance gate were the same nationality as the artist, entry would be no problem. Even better, an artist. It seems as if the artist is financially set. Maybe he heard her children or schools are going with food to eat and decided to visit the Cayman Islands to donate back to the school. Maybe he might be just as decent as those of the same nationality that is here in our country islands, just talking bad about our grassroots Cayman. And I'm not quite sure I get all of that, Darlene. But no, in all fairness to him, his message at the time was positive. It was stay in school and, study hard and work hard. That's great. Except I don't think his lifestyle really reflects that mantra. But then again, maybe he's learning from experience. I don't know. It wasn't like a real in-depth conversation, right? Ricky says nothing to do with looks. He's not successful. Why even bring him around the kids? One thing, if you bring a successful dancehall artist, even if the music is provocative, at least you're bringing a successful person to the kids. Well, he's on the rise, I guess, in the dancehall community. Catherine says she's never heard of him. Yeah, I think that honestly, when you're getting up there, because let's be honest. I mean, if he was a big time dancehall, to Ricky's point, if he was really big on the scene, I mean, he's definitely not a Vibes cartel. Is Vibes the one in jail though? Is he in jail for murder? Or is that another one? Because they also seem to dabble in criminal activity a lot in the dancehall community. I'm just saying, y'all know who you are. Romelia says, what on earth is happening to our islands? What do we stand for? Why is this being allowed? Well, I can tell you what we stand for. We stand for meeting his brother in 2 weeks' time and getting engaged before the brother is even out of quarantine properly and able to leave the Cayman Islands. So somebody sent this. Again, I don't know who this young lady is, but I understand that she is a Caymanian. And this is the message that we received. Somebody said the stupid Cayman gal got engaged to the brother after 3 weeks of meeting him. Donkey of the day. Next Cayman gal getting used for papers. Well, again, his camp is claiming that she has pushed herself on him, bringing him breakfast in bed every morning, buying him all sorts of stuff in the short space of time that he was here, to say that, oh, this is the lifestyle that if you come to the Cayman Islands that you can get used to. Well, you see, this is the problem right here. This is what's wrong with our people. We're not really all that smart sometimes. And so the stupidity of this is very, very apparent. I don't know how desperate you are for a man that he's here in quarantine and gets out for 2 weeks and all of a sudden you're engaged to him, which, by the way, again, his camp has said she bought the ring. She proposed to him. And again, that's a whole thing where the women can't wait for the relationship to develop. Instead, they're doing the proposing and everything else. Okay. So she bought the ring and she said, I want to marry you. I want you to be my husband. And someone mentioned that they're confused by her actions because just the other day, she was allegedly in a relationship with a woman. So now they don't know what to make of it. I mean, the desperation is, I don't know. Somebody just sent me another photo. She's not a bad looking girl. I don't know what she'd be desperate about, but anywho, she made some quick moves and she's actually planning a wedding. There she is. Someone says she works for Cayman Airways. What a hot mess. This is flying high. So someone made mention of the fact that she is now planning to go to Jamaica and making plans to go there and get married. What's the rush? Only God knows. His family and friends are saying, hold on a second. Even for a Jamaican, this is a bit much. And she's trying to control him and control the situation. Maybe she's just looking for a little bit of clout, like she's taken in by the hype life. I mean, he's not intense, but he's close to intense. So maybe she's getting like intense adjacent, like a little bit of excitement because he's the brother of intense. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the attraction is. I have no clue. But there you go. You guys mentioned that intense would soon be on his way to getting married. It turns out that she is. Here's another person who says Caymanian women love Jamaican men. I cannot comment on this because there is a conflict with this discussion. I do have a Jamaican husband, and I don't think that it's the fact that he's Jamaican, but what I would say is what ends up happening is because we have so many Jamaicans here, it is a little bit easier to see how just the sheer numbers, you could actually, have relationships. And Cayman has always had very close relations with Jamaicans. Most of us have grandfathers and so on that have lineage from Jamaica. So there is a very close connection over the years that is maintained even to this day. But I do know some of my family members have never dated anything but a Jamaican man. And boy, they love them a Jamaican man. It's sweet, it's sweet, it's sweet. You know who you are, fam. I will not be calling you by name. But when you're in husband number 4 and 5, and they all been Jamaicans, and you can't make none of them work, people do raise an eyebrow. Dacia says, good morning, Sandy. Frankly, a lot of us parents are out of touch. Look around. All we see are young people with headphones on. Do we know what they're listening to? Why make this such a big deal? We have bigger fish to fry. Some of our children have fallen way behind in their basic education. Why not make that the real big deal? Well, we've talked about that, Dacia, for sure. But I think what your children are doing and what they're spending their time filling their brains with, because there's education in the formal sense, but the most impactful things in life is what happens beyond that. Your children are getting an education even through this experience. So, Dacia, you have to admit that there's some people who want to control their children's exposure, especially since children are so incredibly impressionable. Giving a child a book and making them book smart doesn't actually really help them in the real world. They need to be people smart. They need to be, we talk about emotional intelligence outweighing this book intelligence. Well, emotional intelligence that's your people skills. That's your ability to, get on with people, read people, do all that kind of stuff. And oftentimes not being taken in by people. And that's a skill that you have to learn sometimes by trial and error, making your own mistakes. And those types of things are very, very important. And I don't see anything wrong with parents saying that they don't want their children to be exposed to any and everything at this age. Samantha says the third eye refers to the gate that leads to the inner realms and spaces of higher consciousness and spirituality. The third eye, which is what's tattooed on his forehead, apparently, often symbolizes a state of enlightenment or the evocation of mental images having deeply personal, spiritual, or psychological influence. As stated above, Illuminati, part of a cult, is all satanic in disguise. Well, I don't get into the whole Illuminati thing because I hear all the rumors and whatever. And again, I can certainly see why parents would want to be careful about exposing their children to certain things. So, Bluff to See said, oh boy, only now does he have marketability with some Cayman women. Damien says Easter eggs are part of a cult too. Sharon says the parents themselves are doing the exposing. Well, I would have to believe that to a certain extent as well, because a lot of those parents are living that lifestyle, unfortunately. I mean, I agree. Jess says, I hope they're not calling the pictures that are out there an indication of anything positive coming from him. Romelia blames the principal. I don't think he could have entered into a school without the principal's consent. Well, I think that whatever went down here, we need to understand. Parents do need an explanation because, Dacia, going back to your point, you're saying don't focus on this, focus on your children's education. Well, if you're a parent at John Gray, and right now, after what transpired on Thursday, you understand that allegedly, if you believe the school's position that they didn't give him permission, that anyone could potentially come into your school and have access to your children because they may or may not know the security guard, or they may or may not have Roper pushing for them to come in. Shouldn't that concern you? That should be a grave concern. It's like when they had sports day and these little girls from the schools were in vehicles with these big, hard-back men doing God knows what at a school function. They were allowed to drive in through a back gate that wasn't properly secured. Yeah, you need to be concerned about that kind of stuff. It's no wonder your kids are going around recording sex videos talking about all the sexual activity they're involved in, because they are being exposed to a lot. There seems to be some real issues of the schools controlling what is happening in their environment when they have legal control of your children. And again, there's serious implications as it relates to that. So Shion says, I bet it wouldn't be a problem if it was R. Kelly or Bill Cosby. Oh, Lord, no. Two a rapist and a pedophile? Come on now. There's certain people who do not fit the bill as being a role model to be able to go into school. And I think that it's safe to say that neither R. Kelly or Bill Cosby fit the bill. At one time, Bill Cosby had a lot of people fooled. R. Kelly has never, ever had real sensible people fooled because he has been so out there with his messiness and his preference for teenage girls and underage girls for a very long time. But the Black community was not willing to hold him accountable for that and was giving him access to their children to be able to victimize. Aliana says budget browning versus natural browning. What a mess. Renita, good morning. She says the school is lying. The entry gates are locked and have security posted at the gate. No one is just driving in like that. Jamani says, who is benefiting from this? From what? From him going into school? Gabby agrees that the school is trying to cover up their mess, so blame them and stop tearing down the man. CHHS better don't even think about doing this, says Karen. Good morning, Miss Iva. How are you? Leroy says, when I was a delivery driver and went to the schools, I had to sign a book when I arrived and left. Oh, what a mess. Renita says the school administrators are still clowns. I see. No surprise. They were just as clueless when I was in school. Someone's asking who's running John Gray. And someone sent me a thing the other day saying that with the school inspector's report, John Gray finally got a report that said that they were good. So congratulations to them. I'm happy to hear that, at least. And, you know, I want to be very, very clear that this isn't about us trying to put down the school. Like some people feel like, oh, are you trying to put that? No, honey. We have no desire to put down any school, in fact, because when schools have, again, control of your children for the vast majority of the day, because they're sleeping a good part of the day, and then the other part, they're actually in school. As parents, you only have your kids for a couple hours. Do you realize that? So you all should be concerned what they're being exposed to and what's going on. So the same way we talked about the teacher and her sex, her hidden life or not so hidden life, it being a porn star. I don't know what she thought she was because she wasn't really a star, but whatever. Into that situation, the same way we talked about that and we highlighted that, well, the same way we're going to highlight these concerns and these issues as well, because parents are bringing it to us saying, yeah, we got a problem. Oh, someone said she's a flight attendant. Oh, she must have met him on the plane then. So that's the beginning of quite an interesting relationship. So Jonathan says, at least he's telling the kids to work hard. Jennifer says they could have kicked him out. Darlene says, with no disrespect, if this information is true about the artist, then maybe the reason he visited the school, maybe to get a chance to molest one of the, well, I mean, let's not assume, but the fact that this allegation is out there about him should have been another reason why he was not permitted to come into the school. Again, he's not been convicted of anything, but a lot of people talk. And the very fact that this allegation is out there, in my mind, means that he should probably only be around consenting adults, not people's children. Emma says somebody's lying because even government entities have to get permission to access school. As a parent, you have to go through 12 degrees to get to the freaking office. Chantal says we like to look down on people too much. If it was an international artist, it would have been a different outcome. An international artist with the same reputation? Like who would you think, just because they're an international artist with the same reputation, that we would allow in? And R. Kelly? Like, do you really think that the parents would have been happy with R. Kelly visiting the school? Let's just take him as an example because his mess is out there now. Ms. Valda says to invite the premier or his deputy to come on and speak about Juliana, the missing in action. Let's see what this is. The missing in action minister. All right, I'm glad you mentioned that because I do want to switch gears a little bit. My gosh, we spent so much more time on this than I really wanted to. So let's talk about a few other things this morning as well. Speaking of MIA, so over the weekend, we posted something about the former premier, Alden McLaughlin. Now, some of y'all got up in your feelings about it, and you thought that we were unfairly picking on Alden. I can assure you that we have no reason to unfairly pick on him. So, yes, we have noticed that he is MIA at a lot of functions. Now, someone said, which I thought was very, very interesting. Well, they don't like the fact that these government ministers show up to events and kiss babies and cut ribbons and whatever, and that shouldn't be like the thing that we pay them to do. And I thought about this for a minute. And I said to myself, let me try to understand how this works. Oh, Louisa says it was arranged because the kids knew he was coming from Wednesday. What a mess. Well, the school is claiming they didn't invite him. So somebody needs to get to the bottom of the truth. But yeah, so I thought about this for a second and I said to myself, are we paying ministers, he's not a minister anymore, we're paying elected officials $9,000 plus a month to not do anything? Like, that can't be why we have elected officials. So I guess at the end of the day, we have a certain degree of expectations when it comes to our elected officials. They're actually getting paid a pretty decent salary to represent the people. Just because you're not in the ruling government, you're not a member pact, doesn't mean that you get to collect $9,000 a month and do nothing. That don't make no sense. There could be community projects that they could be working on. There's a lot of things that are happening with planning, the environment, all sorts of issues that they could be advocating for and putting forward on behalf of their constituents. But instead, what I have noticed is the former progressive government has by and large disappeared. And Alden, being the premier, is one of those that has really disappeared. He doesn't show up to events anymore. And the two that stand out the most to me is the youth parliament, which was last month, I think it was, in May. And I think that was like the 26th of May. He did not show up for that event. Now listen, this is an event showing our young people at their best. So if we're trying to encourage our young people to get involved in positive things, to study hard in school, to esteem to be something, which I don't know if they really want to esteem to be a politician, but you know what I'm saying? Supposedly that's a noble profession. All of these things, when they start to get involved in these activities, I think it's incumbent on us as members of the community to really support them as much as possible. And when it's an event that is put on and sponsored by the Parliamentary Association, whatever they call themselves, you would think that all MPs would be on board. Yet, when we arrived at this event, the vast majority of the opposition was missing. Now, the leader of the opposition gave the apologies for David White, one of the representatives, saying that he was away, he was off island, and that he apparently was, assisting someone who was ill. Okay. There was no excuse tendered for Alden. He just wasn't there. There was no excuse tendered for John. He just wasn't there. Actually, let me not pick on John now. I'm trying to remember. Did he tender? He may have. Let me not speak too quickly on John, because poor little Joe can start crying. He may have tendered an apology on behalf of John as well. I'd have to go back and look at the video. So let me not, but I know for sure there was none tendered for Alden. Who else is in opposition? Moses, no clue where he's at. Who else is there? Alden, Moses, John. Barbara was there. Obviously the opposition leader. Is that all they have? I think so. Yes, because otherwise they might have been closer to forming a government. Anyway, Alden has, quite interestingly enough, gone missing like nobody's business. It can't be seen. Well, somebody said recently they saw him at South Coast, which is his favorite bar to hang out at. So apparently he still goes there. So great. Fantastic. But for the people who don't go to the bar scene, they're not going to see him. So I'm just wondering where he's at. So I was wondering, I'm like, where is Alden? Like, I just haven't seen the man. Where's he gone? So I sent that out in my news group, and someone sent me a picture and said, see the man, yeah? He was at, what's it called? Some Rev Cayman or something, getting a little boost. Because I guess he's so tired from, running the country and whatever else he was doing, that he needed a break. He needed a booster shot. So someone said, here he is. So y'all know me already. I was like, oh, he's been found. Of course, this is tongue in cheek, but it's also very serious. Like, I am being completely facetious. Like, oh, he can be found getting his vitamin E boost or whatever the heck these people do. They apparently inject you with stuff that's supposed to help like your energy and whatever. So they put it right into you. So you don't take a pill for you to then lose 75% of its effectiveness. They'll put it right in your vein. So they do an IV like booster vitamins and whatever. So here he was at Revive. Apparently they posted it. Now they reached out and said, oh, this was an old post. We don't like controversy. And the girl had put it up, blah, 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 afterwards, yada, 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 yada. I said, oh, okay. That's good and dandy. But how old was this post? Because my point is, he has gone missing since the election. And if you're trying to tell me that this was before the election, because it's such an old post, now y'all are lying. And you know what I always advise people, honey child, whatever you do not like to CMR, because boy, we like Sherlock Holmes. We are going to find out one way or the other. So I don't know how old they're trying to claim that this photo is. Oh, it's an old photo and they were just resharing it. Okay. If you say so, But what I know is, here you know, stick a pin. What I know and what we all know is that the premier did not get that big ass ring on his finger. Talking about two-term premier, engraved on the inside, engraved on the outside, a gazillion diamonds and sapphire and the whole 9 yards. That ring did not show up until recently. So that ring is a new fandangle thing. So it cannot be that this was all that long ago. I'm just saying. So I don't know. And this is his private life. And honestly, I don't care if he goes to Revive and gets 1 million booster shots or whatever he does. That's great. I think that all ministers, all people in this community need to take better care of themselves, including me. I probably need some Revive K-Man therapy too. Take time for you. Take time for your family. But when you're working on behalf of the people, what I would say is I would expect you to actually work as well. Be seen working. So the rumor is, oh yes, Joey. Well, Joey was he at the function Friday? So you guys know on Friday there was this whole renaming of Harbor Drive to Seafarers Way, which I think is befitting. A lot of people are like, yeah, you know, why are we doing that? It will always be Harbor Drive to me, blah, blah, blah. Well, here you know. This is a God's truth. This is my opinion anyway. I am for it because I don't think that we have enough recognition, except in more recent times, of the important role that our seafarers and our seamen have played in the development of this country. The country was built on their back, right? So renaming a little street after them, I don't have no problem with that. And there's a history to it. There's a reason why it's now called Seafarers Way. I'm all for it. Alden was missing. In fact, there were only 2 members. The opposition leader was on the platform, so not counting him. There were only 2 additional members of the opposition, Mr. Joey Hugh and Barbara. I didn't see David. I didn't see John. I didn't see Alden. And I think that's all there is, right? Where are they? I'm sorry, but you cannot be collecting a $9,000 paycheck from the people. This is my money. This is the people's money. If you don't think that you're paying for it, you better check where that money comes from. Everything they do comes from the people's purse. And so if I'm paying you to do a job, the least you could do is pretend like you care and not just want to be a troublemaker and have a press conference to try and make the government look bad. Maybe that could be part of your role if you had anything of interest to say. But you've got to get out there and actually do stuff. Red Bay people, have you seen the man? Has he had any meetings since he's been elected? Any community meetings? Has he advocated and has he done anything since he got reelected? So his attitude is, if you're not paying me close to $14,000 a month and I'm not running the country and I don't have the title, I'm not going to do anything for you. Because remember, he wanted a ministry. He wanted finance or something, right? So if he's not in that position, when the borders reopen, I can be traveling all over the world. I can go to Monaco with the government. If he's not living that highfalutin life, it's too much to ask him as a regular MP, a regular representative, to actually do some work. Come on now. I don't think that I'm being unreasonable in my requests. Am I? Am I being unfair? You mightn't like how I called him out. You mightn't like my twisted sense of a little bit of humor mixed with complete seriousness. Remember that? Was it a TV show or just a game? Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Remember that? Y'all remember that? My question is, where in the world is a bunch of her MPs? Yes, I remember Carmen Sandiego. It was a game. Oh, child, didn't it have some good little music to go with it too? 1991. Wow. That's a long time ago. Remember? Oh, yeah. It had a good little beat. I remember. Bernie. Was Bernie there? Where in the world is Alden McLaughlin? Doesn't have the exact same ring, but Carmen Sandiego, Alden McLaughlin. Where in the world are all these MPs? I don't know if Bernie was there. I know Catherine was there. I'd have to actually go back and look. Kathy was there. Kenneth was there. Chris Saunders was there. Sabrina was there. I kind of think, wasn't Bernie there? I cannot remember Sabrina. I'd have to double check that, to be honest. I'll look into that because I can't remember. I know Jay was there. Isaac was there. Oh yeah, McKeeva Bush was in there. Apparently someone said he had another engagement or something, supposedly. Y'all need to fix your calendars too. You got PAs for a reason. Fix your calendars with all these supposed conflicts. So Elizabeth says we have one missing in West Bay too. Was what's the other MP's name? The other minister? Oh God, he's there in West Bay. Oh my God, forgive me, but I've totally forgotten his name. Lord Jehovah, help me out here, folks. The young fella there, in West Bay. Oh my God, like I'm looking at his face in my mind, and I cannot remember his name. Is he an Ebanks? No, this is bad. Y'all know this is like middle age. Andre. Yes, Andre Ebanks, right? He's an Ebanks, right? Nosa? Sabrina. This is like middle age fog or something. I could not remember Andre's name. Yes, Andre. I don't recall seeing Andre there either. So, I mean, they might have excuses. And to be honest, Andre was at the youth parliament and other things. But what I see happening is and it's not just the two events. I see more than that. There was also a sitting of the LA. Alden was missing from that as well. So what I'm saying is there's no one that keeps attendance records for the LA. Okay. No one's marking down every session, who shows up, who doesn't show up. But you know what? This is what I'm telling y'all. CMR is going to do it. Because we are paying you money to do a freaking job. Like someone just said, the expat community makes fun of us. Damien, you see who sets the bar for lazy Caymanians, and expats throw that in our faces. Well, if we have lazy politicians who are leading the country, just because you're not in a position of power does not mean that you do not have a role to play. And I don't mean just annoying people either. Like real stuff you could be doing. Barbara. I like that Barbara shows up. She's been showing up to these events. That's great. But she needs to show up in her community. So those people wins apart. And I've seen Barbara since she was campaigning in election time. Remember the last election, she claimed that she cleaned out a pond. That was the one thing she did. You're not getting paid $9,000 a month to clean out one pond every 4 years. There's so many community projects that you could be involved in. Remember when the kids in Windsor Park a few months ago had the dedication of the basketball court where they repainted the court with beautiful colors and whatever? Barbara was in there. None of the opposition members were there, but yet they talk about their shadow government. Well, you're not shadowing very well. And that's in her constituency. David wasn't there either. So again, our young people, we say to them, oh, we got your back. We want you to do well in this world. Yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. But your actions speak louder than your fake words. Show us what you mean when you say you support young people, not just fancy speeches and a word here and there. Like, show up. You know how many of those young kids love to see their MPs? That gives them a little bit of hope, something to aspire to. Jess says every last one of them should have been there, including Andre. Again, I don't know why he wasn't there. Sandra, you're forgetting the man. He needs to show up more. Well, I mean, I just had a brain fart, but Devontae, child, you missed the best part of the show already. You're going to have to go back and listen. Jackson birthday party. Which Jackson that is? Mark says Trump drained the swamp, so she did the pond. What a hot mess. It's not enough. It's really not enough. I mean, I expect so much more. You know, I think to myself, I've been in jobs making a couple $1,000s a month, and you work your behind off for it. And these jokers making $10,000, $9,000, $10,000 a month, and they can't even show up. They can't be bothered. Because, you know, all they're doing is showing up for a photo appearance anyway and eating some food afterwards. But that's okay. At least show up and show your support. Those Siemens have gained our respect. And the interesting thing about this is this was actually an initiative that had started the renaming of the road that had started way before when the Progressives was in government. But now, of course, they don't want to support it. Because, they're not in power. That's just being childish. Big shout out. We got some birthday shout outs, folks. Look at this beauty. Can you believe? I mean, this is quite something. One of her own from the beautiful district of West Bay. Guess how old she is. If you didn't see the post, I want you to guess. How old does she look to you? Don't be cheating now. This is none other than Miss Daphne Orrit. How old do you think Miss Daphne is? She is gorgeous. You see what happens when you have nice brown skin and you just take care of it? No bleaching necessary. Well, I was shocked and surprised to hear that she is actually... Let me see what guesses we have. Let's see if anybody's guessing. Let's see. Hi, Lulu. Hi, Nathina. 68. Lulu says 80. That's because y'all saw the post. Stop behaving. She don't look no 80. But she actually is 80 years old. Oh my gosh. I love her hair. That silver look, like it's just gorgeous. But yeah, she is 80 years old. But honestly, she looks like she's 65. Good genes is right, El Ray. This one barely got a wrinkle. For 80, she looks amazing. Folks, moisturize. Stay out of the sun because the sun is not your friend, especially here in the Caribbean. And she just looks beautiful. So big happy birthday to her. And we also want to send out birthday greetings to Paula. Now, you guys might know Paula. She's beautiful. Transport worker. Considers herself a great tourism ambassador. Everybody knows her as Brown Sugar. And she is celebrating 53 years on Friday as well. So happy birthday to her. And if she keeps it up, she'll be looking like Miss Darlene at 80. Beautiful. So some beautiful and strong Caymanian women. Looking good, looking good. Marcia says they make way more than 9,000. Remember all the perks? Yes, child. I haven't even gotten to those. I have not even gotten to those yet. But yes, that's the base salary plus the health insurance, the pension benefits. Now he got lifetime pension. 5,000 extra a month for your office bills and your this and your that and blah, blah, blah. Yes, child. Devonta says, Sandy, that's a fine old lady. Well, don't call her old because she looks good. She does look amazing. Lulu says, and just as sweet. So it's not my birthday, but this got me in the mood to show you guys some of my own pictures. Now, hold on here. This is kind of fun. I'm going to show you a photo from 10 years ago and then one from 5 years ago. And I can hardly believe how time flies. So check this out. 10 years ago, this is me right then the waterfront, exactly where they've renamed Seafarers Way. Doing my thing. 10 years. I'm like, wow, where has the time gone? Like, seriously, I cannot believe it. Now, y'all see, I definitely need to lose some weight compared to the now. Yes, honey chow. And this was 5 years ago. Child, I can't believe that Gigi is going to be 5 in August. Yes. What a thing. That's when I still had hair. Yep. What a mess. Oh, that was such a beautiful photo shoot. I have so many fun photos that we did. I got to tell you, the photographer was amazing. Really, really amazing. But we were getting ready for our little bundle of joy. So we said, you know what? I knew even then that was going to be the only one. I kept saying, this is going to be a one-hit wonder. Believe me, it's going to be one and done. And so I thought, I'm going to get the best of everything. The best photographer. I actually went to Miami and linked up this photographer to do my photo shoot there. And they actually, as part of their package, had a professional makeup artist that did my hair and makeup for me. So it was a lot of fun. And he was, oh my gosh, he was amazing. Makes me want to pull out the full album because he did such a wonderful job. Thank you so much. And Nathaniel says, wow, very tempting to touch. Marcia says, Sandra, I used to babysit you before you went to school in Florida. Really? Wow. I didn't know that. Maybe I need to see your face to put it together. Now that's a throwback moment because I would have been like all of 8 years old. Can you imagine? Thank you very much. So the final note on the whole, it's not just Alden. There are others who are MIA, missing in action. We expect more of you. That's why I keep telling y'all, if you ran for office and you didn't get in, stay on top of it. Show people that you have the stick with itness, which isn't really a word, but we're going to go along with it, to continue on behalf of the people. All right. Yes. Let's talk about some of the legal stuff. I think we're going to have to leave the discussion about UCCI until tomorrow because I'm actually trying to get some more information. This is the Roy Bodden Symposium. So let's do the lawsuit one. The shooting on Saturday morning. So let me just give you the rundown on the shooting. And then we'll talk about the few lawsuits and the world of cryptocurrency. And I think we can wrap up after that. So a young man was shot on Saturday morning after, I think, like 4 o'clock in the morning. We, of course, got the word very, very early. And it turns out that we have an eyewitness who was there in the complex that knew exactly what went down. So apparently what happened was these guys multiple guys went through his back patio to gain access to his apartment. And he woke up to somebody trying to lift his necklace off his neck. I was like, what the hell? Just for the record, folks, I don't sleep with no jewelry, so don't be getting no ideas. Because I know y'all be looking at this like, oh, Sandy, I love that necklace. You can get one. Wonderful pricing at Prodigy Jewelers. No need to steal one from anybody. Okay? So they went in on this guy. He's known to us. He's been in a little bit of trouble before. So he is known to us. And he has a certain reputation, I'll be honest, that's not the best in the world when it comes to how he treats women. Anyway, a couple guys went into his apartment and Gabby, I don't know I guess they're okay because I haven't really heard anything about them. They tried to rob him of his jewelry and in the process actually shot him in the chest. The guy is lucky to be alive. So he gets shot and he's like fighting them off. He runs outside yelling for help. Neighbors come out, render some assistance, ends up driving him to the hospital in his own car, which is probably quicker than waiting for the ambulance to come all the way West Bay and then take him all the way back to town. So the bullet nearly misses his heart and a major artery. I think it punctured his lung, went straight through, in and out. Which, a lot of times they say that that's probably a good thing because if it gets lodged, then they have to do surgery to try to remove the bullet and potential bullet fragments and whatever. So like a clean entry and exit point can oftentimes be a good thing in terms of your survival rate. So of course he was rushed into surgery. We understand that he is recovering from that, but this is just absolutely crazy. So there you have it. Why y'all be sending me messages all over the place? Somebody's like, check Messenger. I'm like, oh, okay. So they're saying that Barbara went to visit a Mr. Jackson at his 60th birthday. Okay. I don't know who Mr. Jackson is, but happy birthday to Mr. Jackson. So, yes. So that is what happened. So he's very, very, very lucky to be alive. We will keep an eye on, let me see if the police have posted anything more about this. We'll keep an eye on this situation and let you guys know if there are any further updates. But yes, Elizabeth, it seems like he was definitely targeted because a couple of weeks ago, apparently they tried to break in to his house and to the same back patio, and he had secured it. And, he tried to secure it a little bit more, but they just pried the lock open and got in. So they're considering it, the police are considering it an aggravated burglary involving a firearm. And this is right on Adonis Drive. And I don't know if you guys know where Adonis Drive is, but you've got Mount Pleasant. I don't know how far Mount Pleasant extends into West Bay because I always thought that Adonis Drive was actually part of Mount Pleasant. But you West Bayers, you'll be like, no, Sandy, Adonis Drive, Mount Pleasant stops at 250 Adonis Drive, and that house is no longer Mount Pleasant. I don't know where the boundaries are, but wherever you consider Mount Pleasant, I think that most West Bayers don't consider Adonis Drive Mount Pleasant, but it's like right there. But anyway, it's like literally on the back of the shores. It's a nice, quiet area normally. Nothing goes on. And so it is a little bit shocking and surprising that this even happened there. But, a lot of people do feel like he was targeted. So these are probably people that knew him, that knew about whatever chains or whatever he had on that they wanted to get their hands on. So I don't know, but I'm glad he's okay. And hopefully these culprits will be caught. Like, I hope they can go back and look at CCTV footage. Because remember, now we got some high-tech cameras all over the place that are watching your every movement. So hopefully the criminal investigation department can have a look at, what went down. But yeah, this is very close to the shores, which is considered an affluential area, affluential neighborhood with $1 million homes. And so this is a little bit scary, but this is what I keep saying. We address crime and violence holistically because no one is safe. It's not a situation where, because you live in a gated community, you should feel okay. One day somebody's going to come knocking at your door and they're going to kidnap you or they're going to rape and rob you or whatever. So you address crime, not just because or you can't afford to ignore it because it's just in certain pockets of the community, because eventually it spreads. So pretty crazy. Yes, accidents continue to be all over the roadways, folks. There was multiple accidents over the weekend. So here's one in West Bay Road. There were two big ones that happened overnight and into the early morning hours of Saturday. So this was one. And then there was another one on the bypass where the car flipped closer to where is that? I think a little bit closer to the Kimpton area. So, I don't know what's wrong with these bad drivers. I mean, it has to be a combination of drinking and driving and stupidness, I guess. This was the one yesterday in South Sound that happened yesterday afternoon that had traffic blocked. Nobody was able to get through South Sound. The police were re-diverting people. So there is that concern of the ongoing traffic accident. So there's multiple ones over the weekend, and still people do not slow down. They do not stop drinking and driving. It's like, why? How much more of the accidents can we possibly take? I'm trying to show you the other one that happened on Saturday as well. Let me just see if I can find that one. Yeah, so there's another one Saturday afternoon around 12:30. This one was I think this one was up this side. Oh yeah, this one was by King Sports Center. That intersection is a hot spot. People just running into each other. I mean, really and truly. Oh yeah, let me show you this other one that was on West Bay Road on the bypass further up. And this was close to the yacht club area. There, another car flipped. What is it? They're not just getting in accidents anymore. They're just flipping over completely. And I mean, I think once you manage to flip a car, you've completely destroyed the car. There's no repairing those. Linda reminds us that with gated communities, you don't know who you're locked in with. And that's something to consider. So, yeah, Catherine, I feel like we already pay a premium for insurance. And there are those of us who, are just sick and tired of seeing the increase in premiums. Natasha says Barbara is still doing for her constituents, unlike so many of her fellow party members. Well, that's good to hear. I am of the opinion that they could all be doing a little bit more. So yes, I get it. Showing up to parties and stuff, that's not really, that's not the main description, the main job description, but it's certainly part of it. But you need to all step it up. All right, so let's talk about a few lawsuits that we reported on over the weekend. So this fella is in some kind of allegation. The whole cryptocurrency world. Now, I know there's some of you who were really big on cryptocurrency when it first started. You were all going to be experts on this. Everybody was trying to trade cryptocurrency like they were an expert. Oh, I know what I'm doing. Every time I heard that. Every time I heard that story, I was like, oh, I hear y'all. Oh, I know what I'm doing. Join my group. I can teach you to be a trader. I'm like, oh yes, because trading in anything, much less cryptocurrency, which most of you don't even understand, is so incredibly easy. I get it. Anyway, this is a fella here. Craig Sprowley is his name. He's being sued by people who claim that he defrauded them out of millions of dollars. The reason why we're interested in this story is his Crowd Machine company is registered here in the Cayman Islands as well as in Delaware. So it is part of the special economic zone. The special economic zone over the years has invited a lot of questionable characters into their zone. A lot. I mean, they need to do a little bit more due diligence on these people, in my opinion. So it's a very lengthy 80-something, 90-page legal document that claims that George Bashishvili and Jason Bonaire purchased, George purchased $2.1 million of CMCT tokens in February 2018. And the next guy, Jason, $128,000. In this company, which they claim everything about it turned out to be false and a fake, and that none of it was real. They had a white paper, a prospectus, all this stuff that was basically made up. This is the allegation. The company claimed that they had software that was being used by major Fortune 500 companies, and they already had significant investments in the technology. Turns out, according to the lawsuit, that all of this was a lie. They didn't have any global partners. They weren't generating any revenue. They had a Telegram instant chat channel that has now disappeared. That again was making all sorts of allegations. They're claiming that they've committed fraud. They've run against the SEC cryptocurrency regulations because they were never registered with them. And the list goes on and on and on and on. Crowd Machine had never had any functional software, no functional business, and comprised substantially a Ponzi scheme. The price of CMCT promptly plummeted to near zero, rendering the investment worthless. So these guys are now suing him. And of course, Cayman's name has to get all mixed up in it because y'all know they just love to mix us up because we just let any and everybody in. So check that story out. That's super interesting. No. People in the zone tend to be exempt companies, which means that they do not operate their substantive business here in the Cayman Islands at all. They might just have an administrative presence or, that's it. So there's certain things that you have to meet, certain criteria to get that exempt license. It's a tax exempt status, exempt company license. But yeah, child, they're just into everything. Cryptocurrency is like the new way to rip people off. I got to be honest with you. Just this morning, I don't know if we put this story up as yet, but just this morning, there is another situation with a Cayman connection once again to this whole cryptocurrency world. And I'm just like, when are we going to learn that we need to just leave these businesses alone? It's very, very high risk. So last week on the 23rd, there was another story related to cryptocurrency. This one was the Security and Exchange Commission actually filing an emergency action in federal court in New York against this pair. And once again, They got a Cayman connection. They had a Cayman Islands registered offshore fund. And they are, according to the SEC, engaging in a fraudulent scheme as well. That's the allegation against these two and their company. The SEC took what is considered significant action with this emergency order, which freezes assets. Americans Ophir Arbabano, 46, and Victor Amadeo Chalele, 51. Their fund is called Incoming Collecting 1 to 3 months T-bills Mutual Fund. So again, the allegation here is that from 2018, they defrauded investors in this offshore mutual fund by representing to the investors that the fund would primarily invest in U.S. Treasury securities. Sorry, my apologies. And it alleges that what they were doing instead is routing investor funds to shell companies under the director's control. And when investors attempted to access $106 million in investments last month, that's when they discovered that most of the money has been transferred into an account for which there's no redemption. So in other words, it's not connected to the fund. It's like private accounts and offshore and shell companies. So of the $191 million that they've raised from one investor group, $102 million of that was allegedly invested in a brokerage account in the name of a shell company called North American Liquidity Resources. So the SEC claims that they have violated anti-fraud provisions of the federal securities law. They're seeking permanent injunctions, disgorgement with prejudgment interest, civil penalties, permanent bars against participating in future security offerings, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of times these individuals get in trouble with the SEC, and the SEC will accept a financial payment. Yes, they don't always send them to jail. A lot of times they'll be like, yes, just pay the money, pay the investors back, and you can go back to your corner. But the problem with that is oftentimes without a criminal attachment, like criminal charges and so on, they come right here to the Cayman Islands and knocking on our door, and our people let them in. Remember the Canadian guy who got picked up during COVID on the chartered flight to Canada, and they stopped in Orlando to fuel up? Well, they were fueling up all right. They just wanted to nab him, and the feds have him. That wasn't the first time he'd been in trouble. He had some issues with some kind of penny, oh God, what's it called again? Oh, I'll have to go look him up. This is the one whose wife wrote us and said, oh, thank you for the coverage. Like, all my friends have come forward and really, really helped us. Penny stock prices. He was doing some scam with that. We got scammers of all sorts here. White collar, no collar, black collar, don't make no difference collar. We are a very attractive jurisdiction for a lot of undesirable people. Our own, we mightn't be trying to help to get anywhere, but the undesirables we let in. So that was another one. And then there was a third one. Did I cover the third one already? So there was that one. I think there was another one as well. A lot of scamming been going on, folks. So in the news this morning, I see that my regional correspondent hasn't had an opportunity to put this one up as yet. But there's another situation now that is brewing in the financial world with a company called Binance. And they are a large, one of the world's biggest cryptocurrency exchanges. And Britain's financial regulator has banned them from offering certain services in the country. Wow. So the Financial Conduct Authority made a statement on Saturday that Binance Markets Limited is not permitted to undertake any regulated activity in the UK. So here's an interesting thing, though. Trading cryptocurrencies is not directly regulated in the UK, but other related activities, such as selling derivatives, do require approval. This article goes on to say that the move against Binance, I think that's how they pronounce it, is the latest in a series of crackdowns by regulators around the world that have rattled crypto investors and caused prices to decline. And we did see that, there has been a significant drop. So now they're holding them accountable because cryptocurrency is a currency, it's money. And I think for a while now, they've been enjoying the fact that they're unregulated and they can't be touched by anybody. And there have been some really interesting cases. Like there's a case where how much is it? Billions of dollars worth of cryptocurrency has disappeared from one of these cryptocurrency exchange facilities, and no one knows where it's gone. They're trying to, because the problem with cryptocurrency is there isn't much of a paper trail. Which is interesting because it allows people who are perhaps dabbling in some side businesses to really find cryptocurrency to be very, very lucrative and attractive. So now they're asking them to retain records related to UK customers. So they have until Wednesday to display a notice on their website that reads, Binance Markets Limited is not permitted to undertake any regulated activity in the UK. So they no longer service customers in Ontario, Canada as of December the 31st, after regulators there ramped up oversight of crypto markets. The UK ban follows news that Japanese regulators sent warnings to Binance on Friday. The regulator said the platform may be operating in the country without proper authorization. And it doesn't stop there. China, of all places, has also cracked down on the crypto sector in recent months. The country has curbed mining activity and told major payment platforms and lenders that cryptocurrency trading won't be tolerated. And of course, crypto prices have tumbled as of late as a result of the increased regulatory action. So the bottom line is really, they're going to regulate us. Now, there is a Cayman connection with this company as well. According to the Financial Times, they have some connection to Cayman. I'm just trying to remember exactly what it is now. Hold on one second here. These Financial Times people. They always want you to log into their website and become a subscriber and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, there is definitely a Cayman connection to this particular currency exchange. So if you're one of those people who was all about cryptocurrency and Binance and all this kind of stuff, you might want to be careful, is all I'm saying. I know a lot of you were trying to convince people. to trade in it and to get involved. And I think that when you don't really fully understand something, you get involved at your own risk. And when it comes to money, I'm not likely to really tell you that that's like the way to go. Like, just make sure you know what you're doing. Now there's another case. There's two local cases over the weekend. I think we can wrap up with these two that caused a lot of people to have discussions. Yes, David, they're definitely here. One was in relation to the former minister, Andy McAlpine. Thank you, Damien. One was in relation to the former minister of planning, environment. I forget all his titles. But this would have been Minister Dwayne Seymour. So this is quite an interesting situation, but you guys know where Salt Creek is? I already said this is rich people problem, but you know what I find interesting about these lawsuits is that this isn't just a rich person's lawsuit, like, oh, this rich person doesn't want somebody else to build a dock. There's some important principles in these lawsuits that translate to all of us. And that's why you bring a judicial review application, because it is in the public's interest. So former Minister Seymour had handed in a cabinet paper saying that he was in support of a 128-foot dock. And the decision was challenged by the neighbors in Vista Del Mar, which is obviously a very affluent area. So is Salt Creek. The request was being made on behalf of Mr. Marcus Cumber. I'm assuming his lawyers probably put in the request for him. There was a number of delays, but the decision was finally made after former Minister Dwayne Seymour supported the application and submitted the cabinet papers, so they gave him approval. Now, there were objections from the Salt Creek strata, because this dock and where Mr. Marcus Cumber lives is in Vista Del Mar. So his neighbors are the Salt Creek development. So of course they objected to this, what they said was a massive dock. Normally there's like a 6-foot limit on docks, and this was going to be 128 feet. So the minister approved it, cabinet with his recommendation approved it, which is crazy. And so there were a lot of concerns from the Department of Environment, Planning Department, obviously Salt Creek. They had requested an audience with cabinet, which they did not grant, and instead approved it. And of course, this then becomes a matter of legal action. So just remember, folks, for your benefit, in case you don't know what a judicial review is, a judicial review is a process by where you sue government. And it's where you're questioning the validity of a government decision or act, piece of legislation, whatever. So it's how you sue government, basically. Like when you sue government, you do it by judicial review. So it's reviewing or asking the courts to review an administrative action by a public body, or to, get you some sort of a declaration, order, or whatever. So I have sued the government before, and you do it by way of judicial review. And I won, by the way, just for the record. So this strata sued. They would have named, obviously, Mr. Cumber on the thing, since it was his application in question here. But the primary defendant is the Cayman Islands government. So Grand Court Judge Ramsey Hale did a decision that came out on Thursday, I think, of last week. I believe it's about 19 pages. And she considered all the legal arguments that were submitted. And one of the legal arguments, the two primary ones, is that the decision was irrational and illegal. So she agreed that it was irrational or illogical. The legality question, she didn't quite end up agreeing with, but Check out this decision. It's a very, very interesting article. I'll put the link here in the description. So government has essentially lost this decision, and now it gets sent back to cabinet in order for cabinet to reconsider the application. So they will have to go back at it again. What she found that was very interesting was the fact that no one, this is quite interesting, the minister did not actually consider any of the arguments made by the objectors. So he put forward this paper and is like, yeah, let's approve it. But he didn't give their objections any weight. And you can't do that. In his submission paper, he was just like, oh, let's just approve it. Without saying, well, planning has said this is their concerns. The environment has said this is their concerns, blah, blah, blah. So ironically enough, he did none of that. And he showed that he didn't consider any of those things. Well, the courts have found against a cabinet decision. This made me wonder how many other decisions might they have gotten wrong that other people have not bothered to look into. Just wondering. So it's entirely possible that there could be other decisions that need to be challenged. And the lesson for me with things like this is, don't let the government ever push you around. Don't think that you don't have any rights just because the government says X, Y, Z. Know that any decision has the potential to be challenged. And like Salt Creek, you might actually win. And now a precedent has been set. We now know that when cabinet makes a decision and there are objections to that application, they at the very minimum have to consider the objections and say why they're not giving the objections any due consideration or any weight and still approving it. So, cabinet doesn't get to just do whatever they want. And I think that that's important to know. So this is a good decision in the sense that it is one that the people of this country should pay attention to. When the government gets sued, folks, we should all pay attention, because those things have merit, like public, even the situation with DART the other day and the right-of-way argument. Of course, DART has a bottomless pit of money. So his organization will challenge that. They'll go all the way to the House of Lords if they can, if they continue losing. But you have to follow these decisions because they send a clear message about things like access points, right-of-ways, all this sort of information that is very, very important. So, yes, we got to be careful, folks. Got to pay attention. Apparently, this Binance Holdings company is registered in the Cayman Islands as well. So again, we're mixed up into that hot mess. What a thing. All right, good folks. I think that's all I've got for you today. I know that was chock full of information. I hope you found it useful. Marshall, thank you so much. Miranda says that there's a special place in hell reserved for politicians. Well, I would hope not all of them, because I really think that a lot of them do their best. But I think there are certainly a lot of them that need to step up to the plate now. You know, we the people are no longer going to just allow them to do whatever, however they feel like it. I mean, I think we need to have some standards. And that's all I'm saying. Accountability. They run on a platform of transparency and accountability and blah, blah, blah. And we actually expect you to not just run on that platform, but to live up to that as well. So I think that's all I've got for you. Checking to see if there's anything breaking going on. Okay, folks, I wish you a beautiful day. Thank you very, very much for tuning into the program. Shout out to Miracle Broker.
Miracle Brokers International is Cayman's premier source for all your packing, moving, and logistics needs. Whether it's moving a baby grand piano for a concert or moving halfway around the world, we have you covered with our team of local and international experts. MBI has over 30 years of industry experience and are able to get the job done for you right the first time. Contact us today for all your packing, moving, shipping, and logistics needs at 949-5989 or email info@miraclebrokers.com.
So Linda says that there should be a formal inquiry into all of these types of cabinet decisions given that judgment. Well, you can't just have a blanket inquiry. I think that you need to, like what these people have done, do it in the way that is prescribed by law, which means that you bring a judicial review action. So anyone else who has been on the receiving end of a cabinet decision that they have not agreed with should be looking closely at this particular case with a view to actually seeing, you know, what their options are, how they can challenge this or challenge that particular decision that they feel might be wrong. And that's how you do it. So I don't think that there's an option to just have a blanket review of all decisions. But I do think that certainly there is an option there to look at individual decisions, because you have to say every time it's a lawsuit. So you got to say what your reasons are for the lawsuit, and you need to be able to put forward your legal arguments as to why you believe that the cabinet decision was wrong. So there you have it. All right, folks, do enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe and, please be careful on the roadways. I don't know how many times we can say it, but the rate of accidents on this island is just astonishing, in my opinion. And we need to find a way to really encourage greater road safety. Until tomorrow morning, we'll talk about Roy Bodden's situation. I do want to reach out to Mr. Roy as well, because the college has responded to his allegations, and I'd like to see what he has to say in response to that. So we will reach out to Mr. Roy and see if we can garner some other information. So tune in tomorrow for that story and much, much more. Have a good day.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of The Cold Hard Truth. Make sure to check Facebook for showtimes and more information and the latest news at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Subscribe to our IG and Facebook pages to get the latest happenings.